Hey guys, Matt Lingle here again with Denver Private Wealth Management. Today I really want to talk about saving for college as a parent. Obviously, other than retirement, this is going to be the biggest expense over the course of your lifetime, both, and it's going to be so important both for you personally to make sure that you're not getting over your skis and sacrificing your own personal well-being and your own financial future, and then also making sure that your kids will have access to the level of education for whatever they want to be in life. Obviously, as a parent, what we want more than anything is to make sure that we're giving access and opportunity to our kids to set them up for success. And so college and education will always be a big part of that. And so how do we plan for it? How do we save for it? As my mom used to like to say, college is the equivalent of buying a nice car every year and pushing it off the side of a cliff. So, when you start thinking like that in terms of dollar amounts, it can be pretty painful. So, how do we make it as non-painful as possible? Two options to really be thinking through from a savings perspective are going to be 529 plans as well as Roth Iras. And I'll speak to why in a second. But, from a planning perspective, there's best case scenario and then there's reality. But best case scenario is when when your child's born is you get an 18-year time horizon to help you in terms of compounding interest and saving over a period of time. So it's not quite so daunting that first day of college when you're stroking that check to wherever they happen to be going. Now, when it comes to those savings vehicles, 529 is a lot more common, and 529s are going to be a savings vehicle that's specifically earmarked for college and college expenses, and you make a gift into the 529 plan for the beneficiary, which is your child. Of interesting note is technically a 529 plan is owned by the child, and you are just making a gift to the child. So from an estate planning perspective, they can be interesting in terms of shifting assets out of your own estate into the estate of your children. But more importantly, the way they work is think of them sort of like a IRA. What an IRA is for retirement, a 529 plan is for college. So you contribute money into the account. Depending on what state you live in, you might get a state tax deduction. Maybe I think roughly about 30 states have them, so most will give you that state tax deduction. But the bigger benefit is that money will then grow tax deferred over time and will be tax free when you take it out. So the most you can put in per person is gonna be $15,000 per year, and then there's ways to sort of clump that and sort of do a large catch up or a 5-year contribution. But for all intents and purposes, you can be putting $15,000 into that 529 plan per year per parent, and then that money will grow tax deferred. It's invested within it, and then it's pulled out in college. Another little benefit of 529 plans is if you are interested in private school for your children, K through 12, you can use $10,000 of that 529 plan every year to offset the cost of the private school tuition. A very interesting alternative is Roth Iras. So while 529 plans are great, if for whatever reason your child decides they don't want to go to college, or they go to a college that is a lot cheaper than what the balance is in your account, your money's sort of stuck within that 529 plan. You're going to have to pay a 10% penalty on any money you distribute out if it's not for qualified expenses, as well as tax on the gains in the account, which can be pretty painful. So a great hybrid strategy is going to be using a Roth IRA to help sort of supplementally fund college expenses. Now, there's income limits involved and contribution limits involved with Roth IRAs as well, so that it can't necessarily work for everyone. But if at under age 50, you'd be putting $6,000 a year into this Roth IRA. And so you get no tax benefit on the front end, but that money grows tax-free. And whatever you put into the account, you can actually take out, there's an exception for college expenses. You can take out tax-free and penalty-free for college expenses for your child. So, as an example, you put $6,000 a year into the account over 10 years. So you put $60,000 into it, and then the account grew an extra $40,000. So now that Roth IRA is worth $100,000. You could pull out your $60,000 tax-free, penalty-free for college if you ever needed to. But at the same time, let's say your child decides that they want to go to trade school, college isn't the right choice for them. They go to a school that's a lot cheaper than you thought it was going to be. Well, now you've just funded your retirement in a tax-free manner, which is still going to be very helpful for you. So parents that are sort of on the fence, I think Roth IRAs is a great place outside of 529 plans to be stashing money that will help with college, but at the same time is really there to take care of your own retirement as well. These are two really important accounts that I think really help parents supercharge in a tax-efficient manner the savings when it comes to children and the large cost of college. But there's also a ton of other strategies I'd love to talk to you about. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Denver Private Wealth Management. Always happy to discuss further. Thank you.